This is going to be a fun one. We're going to be degreasing, cleaning, and dressing this very dirty engine bay, as you can tell here. So we get a lot of questions from time to time. How do you properly clean an engine bay? Can I clean it? What are the proper steps to do it so I don't screw anything up? So we're going to go through the process here. That way you can do it on your own. All right, so one thing to note about this engine bay, this vehicle is 5 years old and it has never, ever, ever been cleaned. So that's going to make let me back that up. Just the engine bay has never been cleaned. The rest of the car has been washed a few times, but the engine bay itself has never been cleaned. First, what we're going to do is look over the engine. Thankfully, this one has the air boxes covered, so you don't have to worry about getting any water in there. If you do have either an open air filter or an air box that has like a big opening on it, definitely cover that up. So put a towel in there or wrap the filter with a bag. That way you don't get any water on there. Another thing we're going to want to make sure of is that we are not spraying water or chemicals directly into the alternator or any electrical components. So like this sensor here, sensor here and here. These connectors can get a little bit wet, but we don't want to focus all of the water on them. Make sure of the electrical components, alternator, open air filter, things like that. Other things to take note of is obviously these boxes are marked from the factory with they're so dirty you can't even really tell. We'll see once they're clean. But they're marked with little things on here that basically shows like do not spray pressurized water directly onto these surfaces in case anything were to leak in there. Obviously this is the battery, so we don't want to get any nasty water onto any of these terminals here because John wouldn't be able to go home today. Second step, we're going to remove any of this. We've got leaves and some old tree branches and things that who knows how long they've been up here. Got some old helicopter things. All right, so now that we got that crap removed, first what we're going to do is just hose it down with pressurized water to remove any of the loose dirt and grime that is on there. Obviously, we're going to do the underside of the hood too, just because everything is very dirty. Let's get the pressure washer fired up and let's get everything sprayed off. Another thing to mention if you're doing the underside of the hood, do not spray and soak this because most of these are carpeted, so they're going to take forever and ever and ever to dry. So just be cautious of that. We're going to use what we have here in stock, and this is going to be the Griot's Garage Engine Cleaner. So we'll spray it on, let it sit for a couple minutes, and then in any areas that have excessive dirt, we're going to agitate it with a small brush. And it says, you make it scream, we'll make it gleam. So that's what we're going to do for this 90,000 mile engine. If you don't have an engine cleaner or something like this on hand, you can always use like a mild degreaser or a citrus degreaser, anything like that to kind of break the dirt down. Also want to be doing this when the engine is cool. We literally just pulled the car in here, let it sit for 5 minutes, and then started this video. So do not do this on a hot engine. So for some of the tight areas on here, we're going to just run through with this old little lug brush that we have here. Obviously it's safe for paint too, it's very soft. So we're just going to hit up here. These are areas that collect dirt and are hard to reach sometimes. Underneath this seal, you can actually see all the dirt coming down off of that rubber seal already. Obviously the cleaner should do a majority of the work, but some of these tight areas that have a little bit more dirt, we're going to spend a little bit more time cleaning just to make sure everything is all clean. We got a lot of nice dirt collecting there, so we're just going to agitate that a little bit and make that a little easier and looser. And get up here. Soft brush, but it's a little bit bigger. I'm just going to get up here. A little easier than going around with a little brush. Now we're going to turn the pressure washer back on and spray this all off. All right, so now we've got the engine all sprayed off. A couple things you can do. One, you can either turn the car on and let it run for a little bit to let it dry. In our case, we're going to hit it with the leaf blower to get a majority of the water out, get it out of those nooks and crannies, and then dry off whatever is remaining with the towel before we put the engine bay dressing on. All right, so now that we got the engine all dried off for the most part, obviously it's still gonna be wet for a little bit. We're gonna just do the underside of the hood here with some good old speed shine to remove any extra dirt or things that may be left behind, and then let the engine bay dry a little bit longer before we put the dressing on. Just run over with a towel here to pick up the rest of this water. All right, so as you can tell, even just cleaning the engine before we even dress it, you can already tell the difference of how much better it looks. At least I can. Can you tell the difference? All right, so to complete our job, we're gonna be using the Griot's Garage engine bay dressing. You can spray this basically on all of the surfaces in here. Obviously, we're not gonna focus on, the metal or anything, but we're gonna do, obviously, the plastic cover, any of the components and things like that, we're gonna spray this onto. You don't need to douse it, but just make sure it's pretty even on all the surfaces, or you'll tell the difference. My only complaint with it in the aerosol can is it does spray and it does adhere to anything after this. So hopefully after you're doing your engine bay that you're doing something else on the car. A little bit of here, a little bit of there. All right, then we're gonna let that sit for a little bit. Wipe it one more time with a towel. You don't have to, but we will. And then you got a clean engine. So we're just gonna wipe out, remove any excess. That way it doesn't have that slimy, nasty feel to it. Some silicone dressings can leave behind. That is one clean engine bay right there. All right, and that's gonna be a wrap of our engine bay, going from a dirty engine to a nice clean one now. Thank you so much for watching, and let us know what video you'd like to see us do next. We're always open to ideas.